Before we actually begin using OneDrive, I want to take just a few minutes and give you some background information that will hopefully explain to you what OneDrive is and how it can be useful to you as a teacher. OneDrive is a cloud storage system, and you may have heard this term cloud computing thrown around in the past, and you may not have known what it meant. The easiest way to think about it is that the cloud is basically the internet, and if something is stored in the cloud, it simply means that it is stored someplace on the internet. So for example, if I have a file that is stored in the cloud, I can access that file on my tablet, I can access that file on my laptop, I can access it on my phone, or I can access it on my desktop. Any of those are viable ways to access a file that is stored on the cloud. So if I have it on my tablet and I save it, and then I go home and I realize, oh, I want to make a change and I only have my phone, I can make a change to that item. Or if I want to sit down and really do some heavy duty editing, I can work on my desktop or my laptop. So if something is stored in the cloud, it is stored remotely, and you have access to it at any place where you can get on the internet and you can access that site or that system. There are some benefits of using a cloud storage system. One of those is that you can access or edit a file from any device that is connected to the internet. I mentioned that on the previous slide. You can share a file with anyone. All you need is a link, and you need to send that link to someone, and you can share that file with them. Anyone who has that link can then in turn edit a file, and you can choose the privileges of how you would like to share that file. And the file is stored remotely. You no longer need to worry about things like a flash drive or an external hard drive. It's stored remotely on a server, in this case on one of Microsoft's servers, or a server that Microsoft owns or leases from someone else. The drawback of a cloud storage system is obviously that your file is not stored by you, so you don't ultimately have access to that file. In this case, again, Microsoft or some subsidiary of Microsoft retains that file, and if their server were to be attacked or were to go down, you could lose access to that file. Now, they have duplicates of the file. You should never ever lose complete access to the file. As long as you are able to access the system, you should have a file. But every once in a while you will hear of these systems going down for a few hours, or in some cases up to a day, and people will lose access to their files. So that does happen occasionally, but for the most part, you should have very few problems, if any problems, with the files that you have stored on a cloud system. There are three main ways that you can access OneDrive through the school system here and how your school system is set up. You can, of course, if you are using Windows 10 on the student device or on your version of the student device, you can hit the start button, and then you can scroll down, and you can alphabetically until you get to the O's, and you can find OneDrive, or you can create a live tile for that, and you can access it directly through the live tile. If you access through the live tile, it will take you to the File Explorer. Of course, you could also access through the File Explorer, and you will see that OneDrive is found right here within the File Explorer. This essentially allows OneDrive to act as a drive that is on your computer, which it is, even though it's connected to the cloud, so that if I were to create a Word or a PowerPoint or an Excel file and I wanted to save that to a specific location, I could save that to OneDrive and have it saved there so that I could access that and use it on a different device. So it allows it to work much in the way that a flash drive would have worked in the past. The other way is you can log in to your account at login.microsoftonline.com. Very important site for you to remember, and I would strongly encourage you to add that to your favorites or to bookmark that. That allows you to log into the website version and see all of the files that are stored on your school account, and you can log in again from any device, and you can use that system for accessing and editing the files that are on your OneDrive. Hopefully that gives you a brief overview of what OneDrive is and how it can be useful for you. In the next section, I will dive in and show you some specifics about how we use OneDrive and what are some very useful features that you will find once you have started using OneDrive. If you have any questions on this first section, please let me know. Otherwise, good luck using OneDrive. Welcome, teachers. Now that you have a little bit of background information about Microsoft OneDrive, I'm going to give you a tour of some of the basic ideas and concepts that will hopefully allow you to use Microsoft OneDrive on a daily basis. As previously mentioned, there are several ways that you can access Microsoft OneDrive. If you go to the Start menu, of course, OneDrive is going to be found on the left side on the list of programs. It's going to be found alphabetically down in the O's. So there is OneDrive. You may have also created, or you may have found a tile for OneDrive. So if I double click, I will open that and it will take me to my school Microsoft OneDrive account. I will see the files that are currently in my OneDrive account, and I will also see a green check mark next to those files which have been synced and are available for me to use online as well. If you do not have, or you don't want to access OneDrive in that particular way, you could also go through the File Explorer. So if I were in the File Explorer, I would see all the places which I can access or save files on my school computer, and I would need to click simply on OneDrive there, and it would show me all of the files that are available on my OneDrive. Again, same concept holds true, that if they have a green check mark next to them, they have been synced with your account online. Now that you have accessed OneDrive using the Start menu, and then either go into the File Explorer tile or to the OneDrive tile itself, or scrolling down to OneDrive in the Start menu, I'm going to show you how to access the online version of OneDrive and do that through a web browser. Keeping in mind that the process I'm going to show you is the one I'm completing on a Windows 10 device. You can complete this on any device. If you have a Chromebook or you have a Apple computer, you can access OneDrive just the same by going to the same web address that I'm going to show you. If you would like to access your OneDrive on a tablet or a phone, you probably are going to want to download the OneDrive app and access that way. I'm going to hit the Start button and I'm going to launch Microsoft Edge. And I'm going to type in this very specific address. I don't just want to search OneDrive. I want to go to login.microsoftonline.com. And that is the Microsoft Office 365 login that we are going to use. And you hit enter there. The first time you go to this website, you will have to type in your credentials. They will be your email address, your school email address, and your password. I have obviously logged in before, so I'm going to click on my name there. I know that I'm in the right place because when I click login and asks me for my password, I can see that the Greencastle logo appears in the background, so that I know that I'm in the right place. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the login process just by typing in my password. But again, remember, I used Edge. You could use Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer. Any of those options are valid. You can do it on a Chromebook, you can do it on an old Windows laptop, you can do it on an Apple computer, you can do it on any sort of portable device. That's the beauty of the cloud. Once you log in to Office 365, you will see that there are options for all of the Microsoft Office products along with OneDrive on the left. Now we want OneDrive, so we can click here, or we can click the 9 squares and we can go to OneDrive there. Doesn't really matter how we get there. I'm just going to click OneDrive to take me to the OneDrive app. Once I am there, I want to show you just a few things that are available to you. So I see the files that are in my OneDrive here, and I also see the folders. So just like any sort of file and folder organization, you have the ability to add new files or new folders. And if I add a new folder here, I'm just going to call this test folder. I see that that folder shows up. There's clearly nothing in that, but I'm going to go back up one level to my files, and I'm going to see that the test is there. So if I want to drag movieapps.doc in there, I can just grab a hold of it and I could drop it at test, and then I can see that that item is now there. And again, I can navigate back to files also by clicking here on in the upper left. So that is an option that is available for me. So again, clicking new, I can add a folder. I can add any sort of document that is available through Microsoft Office. Into my OneDrive, I can also use it as a storage area. I can upload files or folders from flash drives, from hard drives, from any place that I have those folders and it's able to be connected to the computer. I can upload those files and have them available. The sync option allows me to sync any of the material that I have here on my OneDrive to my computer. And you may remember that I showed you what was in my OneDrive by clicking right here on the OneDrive in File Explorer. Now you will notice that there are many fewer documents here than there are right here. That is because I chose not to sync all of my files that were on the internet to this particular computer, because I was using this computer mostly for a demonstration. I didn't feel I needed to have all those files on this computer. Let's say that I did decide I did want to have them on this computer. I choose the sync button, and then it's asking me, do I wish to switch apps? Yes, I do wish to switch apps. And I could choose all the folders that I would like to sync to this computer, or I could simply check this button right here and sync all of my files and folder to this computer. And that would put every file that's online here on the internet onto the physical hard drive of the computer that I'm using. And again, that probably is something that you're going to want to do. I'm just using this computer as a temporary computer to develop some of the training videos, so I didn't feel that I needed that. But you certainly are welcome and encouraged to do that if you need to do that. I didn't choose the complete option there because I didn't feel that I needed to do that. So continuing the tour, we had the new, we had upload, we had sync. You can sort all the items in your OneDrive by name, by modified, by who modified them, by file size, and all of those in ascending or descending order. You can change the list view to a preview so that you see a little snippet of what each document looks like. And you can also hit the information button and get an information tab that will show you what has happened recently in your OneDrive in terms of things you've done and other things that people have, if you've shared files with them, what they have done and how they have edited the files you have. And you can see again here, I made the folder called test just a minute ago. So that's a brief tour of some of the options that are available to you here in the files area. I'm going to return to the list view because I like that a little bit better. So if I, on the left side, I see that there are a number of options here as well. I can see files. I can see recent, that shows me the most recent files that I edited, along with some of the less recent files down near the bottom. Those are going to be most recent to least recent. There's the shared with me, so if anybody shares files with me, they will show up here and I will be able to see those, and depending on the privileges that someone has given with me, I can edit those or make changes as needed. The Discover tab allows you to discover relevant items. I haven't found a huge use for that yet, but we may find one later on. And then of course there's the recycling bin, which shows you everything that you have deleted. And you can empty the recycling bin, or you can select an item and you can restore that to its original location. Very similar to what your recycling bin was on your standard Windows computer. A neat feature of OneDrive is the ability to create a group that allows the group to share folders and files with each other. This could be useful for departments or grade level teams, and you can create a site and invite others and then basically have your group off and running where you're able to manage tasks, look at shared calendars, things like that. I'm going to not do that right now, but that could be an option that you would like to play around with as well. Going back to files, up here on the top right side, there are a couple more options. There is the notification option. This will show you any notifications. Again, this will show you any things that have changed if you've shared a file or edited a file with someone. There are the settings, some of which you will be able to change, some of which you will not, because we have corporation-wide settings that have already been in place. And there is the help menu where you can search for various items or search, not various items, various help articles that you believe would be helpful or useful for you. So this acts and looks and feels much like a standard way that files and folders are organized. And in fact, that's really what it is. It just happens to be online as opposed to in your hard drive or in a flash drive or something like that. Okay, now that you have a general idea of how things are laid out and how they're organized, I want to show you some things that are very specific to a file. So let's say that I have this Newton's Laws lab here and I want to edit that. If I select that, I can do a number of things with it. I can share it with someone. I can get the link and I can put in an email. I can hyperlink it through another document. I can download it to this computer. I can delete it. I can move it to a folder. I can copy it to a folder. I can rename it, or I can see the version history that shows me all the changes that have been made. I intentionally skipped open over here because open was the very first one and also the one that has the most options. If I click the down arrow here, I have two options. I can open this file in Word Online, and that's simply going to open it in a browser and allow me to make very simple and easy changes right here online. I can also open it in Word on my computer and I can edit it there. Remember how I said that I chose not to have the files synced on this computer because I decided that it was just a computer I was using for demonstration. In that case, I would probably not want to open it in Word because I'm going to run the risk of having a duplicate copy saved on the computer as opposed to just editing the one that I have online. If all of your files are synced in both locations, it should not matter which option you choose. But if you're operating with a file that is solely online, I would tend to discourage you from opening it in Word until you sync that file. And hopefully the instructions earlier will show you how to sync that file if you need to. But I'm going to go ahead and open in Word Online here because I think this is a great feature that is available, again, across browser, across device. You can use this no matter what. So When I click that, I see a streamlined version of Microsoft Word that is going to open for me, and I can make changes and edit right here within the browser. And so I see here that the first question does not have the same font as the others. So if I highlight that and then I change that to Comic Sans so that it has the same font as everything else, I will see that changes, but I probably want to make sure these answer lines are even. I now have, oops, I guess I should fix this too. I'm fixing it. And now I have the file so the way that I want it and the way that I would want to give that to students. You don't need to save like you would in a traditional Microsoft Word document. This is much more like Google Docs, where if I exit out of this and then I go back to Newton's laws, all of my changes have automatically been saved. And notice by double clicking on it, it took me to a slightly different screen. And here I have the ability to print or share, but I also have the ability to edit again in Word or in the browser. And this time in the browser, it tells me just to make quick changes. I can click right there using Word Online. So I have this document, but let's say for some reason I want to, maybe this is a document somebody shared with me and I want to have a duplicate copy on my computer. I can hit the File button right here and I can save as, and I can download a copy to my computer and I can rename it, or I can download it as a PDF, or I can save it onto my OneDrive with a different name. So all those are options. If you just want to save your file, all you have to do is exit and it's automatically saved. If you want to change some feature of it, if you want to save it with a different name, if you want to save it onto your computer, that's when you would go and you would go to File and you would go to Save As, and you would choose the option for how you would like to save that file. But that's only if you want to change some attribute or some aspect of this particular file. And again, when I'm done, I can close out of that. And this will also work for folders as well. I obviously don't have the option to open within Word, but I can share or get a link or download or delete or move or copy or rename a folder as well. I did not mention that earlier. But that hopefully provides you with a brief overview of OneDrive and hopefully gives you some idea for how it could be useful and beneficial for both you and for your students as you move forward with a Microsoft one-to-one device. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, good luck using OneDrive. The last aspect of OneDrive that I would like to show you is how to save a file to your OneDrive. So let's say that you have any sort of Office file. In this case, I have a Word file open, but this same procedure would work for Excel or PowerPoint or anything in Office that you will be using. If you would like to save that file to your OneDrive account, you will go to File, and then you will go to Save As, and then you will need to browse, most likely, and you will need to locate where your OneDrive account is. So in this case, it says OneDrive Greencastle Community School Corporation. And there you see some of the files that have already been saved. And this is going to be my example of saving a file to OneDrive. And then I am going to hit save. And it takes a minute. And that file is saved to OneDrive. So this file is no longer physically located on the hard drive of my computer. It is instead stored in my OneDrive file. And I could access that any way that I've already accessed OneDrive. I could click on OneDrive here, and then I would go to the OneDrive option, and I would see example of saving a file to OneDrive. Notice it has the green check mark indicating that it is synced to the online account. So I should be able to also go to Microsoft Edge, then go to login.microsoftonline.com, and I should be able to log in there with my school credentials. And once I am there, after it loads, I should be able to go to OneDrive. And there's my example of saving a file to OneDrive, so I could open that. And again, just like I showed you before, you have the option to edit that document in Word or in your browser. This case, editing in Word would probably be okay as long as you know that you need to save that back to OneDrive when you're done. You would not want to save it onto the hard drive of your computer because that would create a duplicate copy. Or you could edit it in your browser. Either way, but the file is now both stored where you can access it if you are using your regular version of Microsoft Word, or if you are using the regular sorry, if you're using the online version associated with OneDrive. So if I were to open Microsoft Word here, I would see my recent files. It looks just like it has been saved to a flash drive or my hard drive like you would in the past, but it is now in fact saved to OneDrive. So that's how you save a file that you are using for one of the Microsoft Office products, and how you save that to OneDrive and access it from various points. So that's the last piece of the tour of OneDrive. Hopefully you find all this useful, and will find great ways to use and share files with your students and with your colleagues. But please let me know if I can do anything to help you with OneDrive or anything else with Windows 10. Thanks so much. Have a great day.